Hello everyone. It looks like something interesting is happening politically. For the first time since the Republican Revolution, quote-unquote, of 1994, it seems that the Democrats are playing hardball. And that the Republicans have folded their hand, so to speak. Right now in the Senate, they are going through the many, but far fewer than expected, amendments that the Republicans filed on the House, on the reconciliation bill. And if you don't, I won't go into too much detail, but basically what's happening is that the Democrats are relearning something which they had forgotten for a long time. And that's that people in the United States respect people in positions of leadership that that do take direct action. That when a decision has been made, that follow through on it. Which the Democrats are finally doing with the healthcare reconciliation bill, which you can probably find 1,000 sources to explain to you the twisted system of healthcare legislation that is, or the twisted system of parliamentary rules that are being used to produce this healthcare legislation. And I'm not blaming this one on the Democrats. I hope that the Democrats use this wisely for the next few years, and I hope they don't let it go to their head. Eventually they will. Parties do that. Or they may forget it entirely after this and decide, oh, we're free, we're home free. I hope they don't do that, or they're going to get totally screwed in the upcoming elections and in 2012. But it is an interesting process to watch Harry Reid. It was absolutely fantastic to see Al Franken presiding over the Senate. I mean, I remember when Al Franken was on Saturday Night Live, and that is totally weird. And he is one of the more eloquent and intelligent and informed senators on that floor right now. Who knew? But I want to say this is a historic moment, that this is a turning point, but I keep getting reminded that history is being made everywhere, that sleepy small communities all have their momentous, in some ways, world-shaking events. But I think we can point to Washington, D.C. right now as where something is changing. I thought things had pretty much stalled after Barack Obama's election. Well, actually, after the repeal of the Mexico City policy and the Lilly-Ledbetter Fair Pay Act, after he did those two things, I thought things were slowing down. The Cairo speech was great, but he seemed to be losing momentum. And now the government seems to be getting it back. The Democratic Party seems to be getting it back. So I won't say I have hope. Especially not with the civil liberties problems with the intellectual property and all that bullshit. But I am a tiny bit less pessimistic. We're still in for a rough ride. I think we're going to go through I think this is going to be a double-dip recession. But it's starting to look like having people in charge of government who don't believe that government automatically makes things worse which is essentially the motto of the Republican Party, it's starting to look like that was actually a good thing for us in America to arrange, was to elect the Democrats in power. And I hope I can hang on to this tiny, tiny shred of not pessimism for a while. And I wish you all a good evening or day or morning, and thank you for your time and attention.